Lovely. Good evening, Zambia. Good evening, Africa, and warm welcome to the analysis program right here on KBN TV from Zambia's capital city, Lusaka, with me, Innocent Piri. You can simply call me IP. And allow me to wish all of you a happy Easter holiday to many of you watching the program via our DSTV, GoTV, and Topsa Decoder. Of course, allow me to unveil the people I have in the studio. In the name of Comrade Mike Chula, he joins me again this evening. Welcome and good evening to you, Comrade.
Thank you very much, IP, and good evening to our dear viewers. Indeed, it has been a happy Easter, and I wish our dear viewers who are following us wherever they are a happy Easter holiday to you all, and I hope you've been doing the most with this Easter to celebrate the death and the resurrection of Jesus Christ.
Fantastic. Also, PK, he joins us, Pastor Kenneth Mambwe. Welcome and good evening to you.
Good evening to you, IP, and happy Resurrection Sunday to our dear viewers. You know, when they killed Jesus Christ, those who killed him, they thought that's it. They've sorted out the problem. But they forgot to count that Sunday is coming and resurrection is coming. So that is a word to someone watching whatever the issue may be passing through. Your resurrection is coming.
Thank you so much. Of course, later on I'll be able to, of course, unveil Ambassador Anthony Mkwita. But let's look at the first story as we look at this evening. We'll try by all means to cruise because time is not on our side. We look at the UNZA protest, UNZA confusion that happened from last week. The whole of last week, actually, it's been a busy week for the students at the University of Zambia. UNZA, of course, were protesting for or against the filth environment, but also that filth environment comes with another sad story or a sad angle where we're talking about the death of an 18-year-old a student in that regards, in Emmanuel Bwalya. A very sad story. If you permit me, we will have to go for a moment of silence, perhaps, gentlemen, together with the viewers out there, in honor of Emmanuel Bwalya from the University of Zambia, who died in a very unusual and a sad circumstance. All right, may his souls rest in eternal peace. Let's get into it, gentlemen. Very sad story, as I mentioned earlier on. Comrade Mike Chula, what do you make of the UNZA confusion? But before that, maybe let's just look at some of the highlights in terms of the protests which erupted at the University of Zambia, but of course a few speeches which were given. I know that the PS also visited that area. Dr. Mambwe was there to visit the area and trying to console the student, but also we did see the vice chancellor himself as well. He was there as well, trying to speak to the students, but also calm the situation. Let's have these few clips.
The University of Zambia was briefly disrupted when news of the death of a second-year student on the evening of 31st March 2026 filtered in. The students reacted with anger, heaping the blame on authorities for their failure to address the water and sanitation challenges at the country's highest institution of learning on time. This is because the deceased died after accidentally falling and drowning in a water-filled pit that is meant to address the sewer challenges at the institution. Filled with grief, the angry students took to the Great East Road and blocked traffic in a desperate bid to draw attention to the dire water sanitation crisis on campus, as well as the death of their fellow student, which they said was preventable if the authorities did not fail to address the issue. Police officers were swiftly deployed to the scene, but the determined students refused to disperse, demanding immediate action from the university management. Speaking in an interview with KBN TV News, some students are calling on the university administration and other relevant authorities to immediately address the issue, saying that they do not want to lose another life in a similar manner.
Yesterday we saw our young brother Emmanuel Bwalya lose his life at a construction site right there in campus. So students are not happy, and really what we want is we do not want to lose another life before we have as the sanitation worked.
That is suitable for everyone. If they are able to be cleaning these pipes, these sewer pipes each and every day, it is okay as long as the student is learning in a clean environment. That's all that we ask for. Nothing more, nothing less. But if they keep on unclogging today, it's an urgent matter. They unclog today and we are still working under that same environment. If they are unclogging that and it bursts out, what happens? Everywhere it's now a mess.
And the Zambia police have identified the deceased as Emmanuel Bwalya, aged 18, a second-year student in the School of Humanities and Social Sciences, and confirmed that the incident happened around 21 hours within UNZA premises.
The Zambia Police Service in Lusaka has recorded a case of sudden and unnatural death involving a student from the University of Zambia. The incident occurred on March 31, 2026, around 21 hours within the University of Zambia premises. The deceased has been identified as Emmanuel Bwalya, aged 18, a second-year student in the School of Humanities. Preliminary investigations suggest that he accidentally fell into an open pit with water and subsequently drowned. He was retrieved from the pit by the Zambia National Service personnel and rushed to Levi Mwanawasa University Teaching Hospital, where he was pronounced dead upon arrival.
And the Zambia National Student Union President Innocent Chendano has called on stakeholders to quickly address the issues occurring at the university.
We are sure that when the students close, they will ensure that pipes are being changed, and these are the lasting solutions to this problem. Let me take this opportunity to call upon all stakeholders to come on board, the corporate and many others, to join in and help the situation improve.
Meanwhile, Ministry of Education Permanent Secretary Technical Services Dr. Kelvin Mambwe visited the university to express government's grief on the loss of the student, which he says should never have happened, and that going forward, government will ensure that the learning environment is both safe and conducive for students. Dr. Mambwe also disclosed that 23 million has since been released today by government through the orders of President Hakainde Hichilema to address the water and sanitation challenges at UNZA.
Going forward, we must do something to ensure that the institution, the learning environment is safe. The learning environment is conducive for you to be able to go to class, be able to study, come back to your room and cook, take a bath.
As investigations into the incident continues, students remain on edge, insisting that urgent and lasting solutions must be implemented to address the water and sanitation challenges at the institution. The tragic death of 18-year-old Emmanuel Bwalya has now intensified calls for accountability, with many hoping that the released funds will bring immediate improvements and prevent further loss of life at the University of Zambia. Elizabeth Kayombo, KBN TV News, Lusaka.
All right, beautiful. Comrade Mike Chula, a very sad story, as I mentioned.
Yeah, it is a sad story that we are talking about this evening when we are celebrating Easter, and on the analysis we are beginning with a sad story of the death of Emmanuel Bwalya, who went to UNZA to pursue his dream career, but it was not going to be the case because he died in unfortunate state of affairs. Now, historically, when you look at the University of Zambia, it was established in 1965, then it became operational in 1966. Then by then the population of Zambia was not as high as we are, and the university was not established to cater for the over 30,000 students that we have presently. Back then, the numbers were lower, and even the issues of sanitation was not something that you can argue about. But now, the university has got over 30,000 students against the establishment in terms of infrastructure that was done in 1965. Now you can imagine the number of years from 1965 to 2026. And it's a long period of time, which meant infrastructure rehabilitation or upgrades needed to be undertaken. Now, something that we also need to look at is that the population within UNZA has been assisted by the nearby boarding houses that surround the University of Zambia. Now imagine if all those students who are in nearby boarding houses were to be within the University of Zambia campus, then the situation was going to be total disaster. So now let me look at this thing from a certain front. The students who are at UNZA are coming from different backgrounds across Zambia. So if you are going to see a situation where some of the pictures and the videos that we have seen there's a lot of littering everywhere. Now you'd ask yourself, who throws those used plastic bottles on the floor and they end up not being collected by whoever must collect them? That tells you, that there must be a problem where we're coming from. Where are we coming from? We are coming from communities. So if where we are coming from as students at UNZA, we have not been taught on the values of cleanliness, then the problem is being transferred from the homes into the institutions of learning such as UNZA.
Yeah.
Because you can't expect someone who has gone to UNZA to be a person who should solve national problems to be the person who is creating problems.
Correct.
I'm not talking about the infrastructure here. The infrastructure is beyond the students. But I'm talking about human behavior.
General cleanliness.
General cleanliness. So the problem that we have that is now being manifested at UNZA is the same problem that is being manifested across many busy cities in Zambia. You go to City Market today, you go to Chamboli, you go to Livingstone, you go to Nakonde, you are going to find that littering is not, it's not something unusual. It is the norm of the day. So the problem that we have created as a nation is that we have failed to uphold simple basic instructions to say, when you use a bottle of water, when you use a sachet of water, find a bin and throw it there. Then the Lusaka City Council or the local authority in these cities should come and collect. But this is not happening. So for us to cure this problem of littering in a state institution like UNZA, we need to go to the basics. Where are the basics? We're talking about the primary school and the secondary school. So learners from these institutions, they need to be, this is where we have lost it as a nation. We have given too much freedom to learners such that they are growing up not knowing that I should take care of my environment. So now they grow up with this behavior and they go with it at UNZA and they now let it loose and it becomes worse on the litter aspects. Now, when you look at the usage of public toilets, it is embarrassing that we have people who can go and use a public toilet and leave dirty in that public toilet without consideration for the person who is going to use it next. Again, where is the problem? The problem is coming from the primary and secondary school. If you go across some of these primary and secondary schools within Zambia, you are going to be disappointed with the state of public toilets. So those are the problems that we have not solved at primary and secondary school level, and we have left these students go with these problems to university, and now at the university it has become very worse.
Interesting. Let's hear from PK. We're talking about the University of Zambia, which seem not to be safe for human habitation. PK, your take.
My colleague here has spoken about behavior. Let me bring in the political dimension to the discussion. The University of Zambia is one of the highest learning institutions in Zambia, and it is expected to be producing the future leaders of tomorrow. It's been known to have produced some of the finest brains in Zambia. Some of them were experts working in other jurisdictions, but having acquired the knowledge from here. The likes of Mnangagwa, who is president of Zimbabwe, was educated here. And there are many, we can list and mention them. So University of Zambia has been known to be a powerful institution that has produced captains of industry, leaders in the corporate world, innovators, and so on and so forth. So there's a certain level of critical thinking that is expected of students at the University of Zambia. What we have seen, unfortunately, lately, is a student that is devoid of critical thinking, that is subdued, that is pliable, that is easily manipulated, because they have become, in my view, political tools in the hands of the cunning politicians. We saw the students take a long walk from their campus to State House in solidarity with this administration and the president in particular. Over what? Well, they said meal allowances. They said, what was it? Apart from meal allowances.
Quite a number. They are talking about CDF increment.
No, but CDF doesn't concern them. I want to speak to things that concern them.
I think one of them is meal
all those
allowances,
things.
yes, but they would speak to on other issues as well.
In short, they said they were going to thank the president for his good leadership.
So,
and the main achievements he has achieved in the last 4 years.
So let's just pause there.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go into all the other things.
Yeah.
I'll come to the other things.
Right.
But let me go specifically to the meal allowances. Granted, they went to thank the president for the reinstatement of meal allowances. I would have loved to know that they went to thank the president for the improvement of the infrastructure at the university. And they painted a picture that all was rosy, all was well, everything was perfect, functional, there was no problem. And hell broke loose. We saw pictures that once you look at it, you don't want to think about food, because you can't think about that picture and food in the same moment. You need to substitute one or the other. And I began to have a flashback in my mind where the students from university that marched to State House to thank the president, are they coming from the same institution with these filthy toilets and ablution blocks? Are they coming from an institution where they don't use their toilets, they go to East Park Mall and surrounding infrastructure to go and answer the call of nature and relieve themselves? I'm beginning to think then, where is the critical thinking? What compels a young man, a young woman who is supposed to be thinking critically as a future leader to take such a long walk, sweat, have blisters in your feet, sing and get a hoarse voice, to go and praise the president, and yet you know where you are coming from?
Commander, Kuishiva.
All the things that are supposed to help you learn are not there to help you learn. I was very surprised to see those pictures. What did we see next? We saw them blocking the Great East Road. And we were wondering why. At an institution where we have got alto soprano bars of praise, people, well done, Mr. President. Well done, Mr. President. Well done, Mr. President. But why are you blocking the Great East if the president has done well done or has done well? I'm not being political. I'm trying to provoke.
By the way, there is nothing wrong with you being political.
No,
don't apologize. Please.
I'm not being political. Yeah. I'm trying to. I was once a student. I know what it takes to be in an institution and the toilets are not working, and the water is not running for 1 day, 2 days, later on 3 days, 1 week, 1 month. And then I should convince myself that let's take a walk and go and praise the leadership for a job well done. Wow, students, well done. You don't have to protest. You thanked the leadership already. You did. So then why did you have to go to the Great East? What was heartbreaking then is to hear that a second year, 18-year-old, unsuspecting young laddie, perhaps was going to become, I don't know. The hopes of the parents and the family were vested in him, only to fall into a pool of filthy water, drown and die. What a way to signal the rot that surrounds the apex of the highest institution of learning in Zambia. What a way to sound alarm than to lose a young life in filthy water because there is no water reticulation, because all the pipes are clogged, and because the university management was waiting for an emergency meeting by the president, because the Minister of Education was waiting for an emergency meeting by the president, because ZNS Command was waiting for an emergency meeting by the president. And we have no apologies to make. I saw a post on KBN that says it is a broken system if it has to take the president to fix the toilets at the university. Why must it take the president? Yes, we know he's the one the students went to thank, but must Lusaka Water and Sewerage wait for the president to call for a meeting? Should Mr. Solochi wait for the president to call for an emergency meeting? Mr. Siakalima, the man who doesn't suffer from poverty of the mind, should he wait for the president to call for an emergency meeting?
The entire University of Zambia
management, they didn't see that the filthy was overflowing everywhere. They didn't see that.
They were part of the filth.
I am totally disgusted, and if that's the level of leadership we have at the University of Zambia, we might as well close it.
I'll come back to you, PK. Ambassador, a few things that I wanted to look at, but also riding on what the two gentlemen have submitted. When you see the students going to march to State House to thank the president for his main achievements he has achieved, but also what is more interesting is the UNZA management, the students' management itself. We've got young people at UNZA who have been flying in and out of Lusaka with the president. They've been part and parcel of the entourage of the presidential motorcade, rubbing shoulders with the president. The question is, why should those young people, or why didn't those young people alert even whisper to the president that, yes, Mr. President, maybe we can't speak on camera. In as much as we are applauding you, there's a problem behind home. All they've been doing is basically the commander thing. It is a kind of a student activism we're going to have today. Where has the activism of Mwetwa gone? The Emmanuel Tembo of those days, Antonio Mwanza. Where is that legacy? Where have we lost it? Where have we been brought to this secrecy? What is that to analyze, Ambassador?
I can feel your hurt.
It's frustrating, believe me.
I can feel your anger. I can feel your frustration. I personally was a host as a journalist like yourself, and my cousin Cornelius Mwetwa, and brother from Eastern Province, Antonio Mwanza, are people whom I actually used to go and pick up at the university to go and take them for interviews at Radio Phoenix so that we could talk about some of these issues. I will get back to that. Now, before I do, given your frustration, somebody, by the way, on our very widely followed portal of KBN TV, whenever the analysis comes out, because now, whether you like it or not, the analysis just goes on fire every Sunday evening, like now, whether you like it or not. In fact, the biggest fans are those that hate us the most, and those are the ones I like the most. I hope you are watching, and you're gonna eat your heart tonight like you did last Sunday. Now, Emmanuel Bwalya, 18 years old, woke up 3 days ago. His mother called him in the morning. Emmanuel Mwanawandi, how are you? How is school? No, Mom, I can't talk. I'm actually already in class. Oh, okay. You know, I know how mothers love their children. I'll call you up and do you have enough, food and stuff like that for school? Emmanuel said, yes, I have, but I'll call you. I'm busy, Mom. And mothers can be quite pesky. They love their children. Emmanuel went to school. And the mother went to rest because she felt that Emmanuel Bwalya, 18 years old, second-year students in the School of Humanities, was okay. Emmanuel Bwalya's mother was already with her, other family members and friends speaking, let's start with no go school. And then about 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock, she hears that Emmanuel Bwalya is dead. She says, which Emmanuel Bwalya? Umwana wenu Emmanuel, your 18-year-old kid has died. He's died? Yes. How? He fell into a cesspool full of shit and he's gone. He's not gonna come back. That smile that you used to see that made you happy as a parent when he got into the house, that laughter that you used to hear without even knowing what conversation he was having on the phone is gone. You are never gonna hear it again. Emmanuel Bwalya is gone in shit. Who is responsible? Well, the people who are responsible are the same people that prioritize to buy ambulances. They are the same people that prioritize to buy land cruisers. They are the same people that prioritize to change the constitution. They are the same people that prioritize changing Bill 7. They are the same people that prioritize getting Tasila Lungu off the ballot box, no matter how much it is going to cost for the Electoral Commission of Zambia to have an election. So what I am trying to say here is, this is not an Emmanuel Bwalya problem. This is a priorities problem for the government. What is important for you? Is it more important for you to hold an election for Tasila Lungu, get her off the ballot? Is it more important for you to get Bill 7 and enact it into law and pay some people? Is it more important for you to change some laws? Is it more important for you when the prices of fuel are increasing and you want to get some traction, you get that little girl called Commander, whatever she is. I'm very ashamed of her. I'm sure her parents are very happy of her. Commander Kwishiba. That is, I don't know what to call it. Is it more important for you? You know all this stuff has been happening over the last 4 years. But you didn't fix the toilets. You didn't fix the sewer pipelines. You didn't fix the cesspool. An 18-year-old young guy had to die. Do you know how sharp you have to be in second year at 18 years? You went into university at 17, for God's sake. 17. Her mother is waking up tomorrow. She's waking up tomorrow. Damn. Emmanuel Bwalya, mwana wanduli quiz. There will be no Emmanuel Bwalya. But you were paying that commander little girl to sing praises for you. And meanwhile, who is that guy? I don't even know his name. The vice chancellor or something. Let me give you an example. In 2010, President Barack Hussein Obama, there was an oil spill in the Gulf. It cost America about $1 billion. Some people died. This station is owned by a man of God, a Christian, a pastor. He wouldn't want me to say this, but I will repeat what he said on ABC, on NBC, on CBS.
And
Obama
maybe
said,
you shouldn't.
Maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
Barack Obama said, I want to know whose ass must get kicked. So I want to look into the camera now and ask President Hakainde Hichilema.
Say who should be fired?
Who should be fired? Sia Kalima. Why don't you fire Sia Kalima for a start? He's failed. Fire Sia Kalima.
Maybe
You
there's a
fired.
lot
No,
of
let me
us-
finish.
yeah.
Let me finish.
Okay.
I'm still on fire right now. I'm just getting warmed up. Fire Sia Kalima. After you fire Sia Kalima, you fire that guy. He is a cadre. The guy, the vice chancellor. Fire that chancellor. And after that, move around. It will be good for you, President Hakainde Hichilema, to fire Sia Kalima, the Minister of Education. It will also be good for you to fire the vice chancellor. If anybody hasn't vouched for you, there is strength in sacking failures. And what excuse do you need? There's been a death, Mr. President. An 18-year-old, you are a father yourself. An 18-year-old kid has died. You have to fire Sia Kalima. He has failed. You have to fire that guy, the vice chancellor. He has failed. You have to fire all that guys. You have to show that you are in control, Mr. President. It will be good for you as we go to the elections, but also it will be good for the family. If you don't, I mean, and I think you can, because, you know, you fired that man who likes to dance with a gray beard and a fat stomach, President, what's his name? Dr. Mushima, nice guy, I love him too much. You fired him. And you fired the other guy by IP.
Yeah, let me take the thunder from you just a bit. I'm still coming back to you. Don't worry.
Please.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that needs to be unpacked here. Mike Sichula. But before that, let me play this clip of a gentleman. I mean, while the students and leaders have kept on praising the government, have kept on hero worshipping the government, have kept on massaging the government, speaking in a very subtle manner, you know, trying to pretend as all is well, but things are not okay. But it took just one gentleman who confronted the Chancellor himself, and he says, Mr. Chancellor, yes, we are happy with the meal allowances, but you are not doing us a favor. You know, maybe the viewers can watch this, then from there we quickly conclude.
Okay.
And I'm grateful. Sir, mine is not a question. Mine is a major concern. We agree with the efforts that the University of Zambia and the government at large is putting into taking the sanitation at the University of Zambia. But this is the thing, sir. With the student populace here at the university and all the necessary authorities trying to do what they are doing, it's like you dig a ditch and the students fill it up. You dig a ditch and the students fill it up. So this is my concern, sir. If what you are saying, sir, is viable and that you are looking towards fixing a sanitation issue, my plea, sir, is send us home and call us back.
Thank you so much. So give it a minute, each one of you. Please let us stick to a minute, all of us, so that we quickly move in. There's a lot that we can pack here.
Did you just steal a minute from me?
Yes, I did. No, I'm giving you back. Don't worry. I'm giving you back. Don't worry. Yeah. So, Ambassador, he brings out some names of people that needs to be fired. He brings out, of course, he also called on President Hakainde. That was Speaker who called on the president to say, look, if you be the one always calling for an emergency meeting and alert some people or remind them of what they're supposed to do, it means some people are letting you down. The system may be broken. Your quick take on that.
Comrade and our dear viewers there, it's a pity that we have a union, a students' union that has taken themselves to be in the pockets of the UPND administration. Under total and the correct position of unionism, I would have expected the current UNZA union to demand for an inquest or investigations into the death of Emmanuel. Because if you recall, the meeting that President Hakainde Hichilema called was an emergency meeting. From reports that I have heard, I've been told that the area where Emmanuel met his fate was not barricaded to show that there's work going on here. And another issue that our viewers need to know is that at the University of Zambia, there is poor lighting system in the evenings. So there's total darkness. Apart from poor sanitation, there's total darkness. So this is why we need investigations into the death of Emmanuel Bwalya, because the circumstances that led to him to find himself in that dugout where there's filthy water and everything must be established. If you recall again, when during the issue of Vespas, that student was killed by the issues of the protest, then there was a tear gas that was thrown into her room. Yeah. There was an inquest that was established to ascertain what happened to that our fallen lady who died in very unclear and unfortunate circumstances. In the same vein, if the union was tough enough, as we know the unions of the likes of Cornelius Mwetwa, the likes of Antonio Mwanza, by now the Zambia police needed to have moved in to begin investigations. We cannot just forget about a young guy who dies and we forget about it. We look at as if nothing happens. This is a life, like Ambassador has spoken. Emmanuel Bwalya is not going to come back. The vision and what the family believed in him, they are not going to have all that back. Then you spoke about the vice chancellor. I think to me, we can line up all the vice chancellors that University of Zambia has had. You can scan the internet to check if you are going to find any of those vice chancellors that UNZA has had in the past years. If you are going to find any clad in a political party regalia, MMD, UNIP, PF, I challenge our viewers out there. I'm saying, you are going to argue to say there's nothing wrong for a person to belong to a political party, but the challenge that I'm posing to you is that search the internet, search everywhere if you are going to find a vice chancellor who even made flyers and posters, MMD, PF, UNIP. It is only the current vice chancellor of the UPND, or the vice chancellor of UNZA.
No, you said it correctly.
Thank you very much. That you are going to find him on a political poster. And when he was addressing the students, one thing that I picked up, instead of him holding himself as a vice chancellor to speak as a vice chancellor, he was busy bringing in the name of the president. The president doesn't work at UNZA. No. The president works at State House and Community House. The vice chancellor's role when he was addressing the students, and I'm glad to that student who came out boldly to expose him, because he was supposed to speak as a vice chancellor. President Hakainde Hichilema ended his role by influencing his appointment to be vice chancellor. So when you begin to speak to the students, speak from the voices and the command of a vice chancellor. Don't ride on the name of the president. No, the president loves you. Loves you, but he has not provided proper sanitation to UNZA. He loves you.
And someone has died.
And someone has died. I think investigations under normal circumstances, we needed to establish investigation. If it was the recklessness of ZNS to begin digging and they don't barricade the area where they are operating from, then they must be taken to account. Because it is the same ZNS that we have seen today. A ZNS commander dishing out 200 kwachas to students. For what?
Allegedly so.
Yes, allegedly so, but for what? If the images that we are seeing online are AI, like we have been told in the past, then it is a very sad state of affairs.
Right. PK, your minute starts now, quickly.
What has happened at the University of Zambia is very sad. We can't even gloss over it. It is very, very, very sad. But it's an indictment on the entire government. It's an indictment on the Ministry of Education. It's an indictment on the management of the University of Zambia. If we don't see this in the right context, then I'm afraid that we have become a political nation. And I would like to make an earnest appeal that we depoliticize service delivery. We depoliticize education. We depoliticize the University of Zambia and student affairs. I'll tell you this. Anyone watching knows the reason why they voted for a government is so that the government should restore what they promised, meal allowances.
Correct.
When you restore, it's your responsibility. You don't expect me to start thanking you for delivering what you promised to deliver. You are just doing your job. Anyone who is in public service,
That's what you're paid for.
That's what you are paid for. Don't expect us to start clapping and dancing.
For what you're paid for.
No. And in the same manner, when you fail to deliver like...
My daughter said, you are going to college, I've paid. Can you thank me?
No. So when something as sad as this has happened at the University of Zambia, we cannot look away. We have to speak and call those that are responsible to account so that perhaps order can prevail. And to you students, please, know why you are there. The current crop of politicians won't be there, some of them in the next 5 years, 10 years. They'll all be gone. What kind of a leader are you going to be? Will you sit there with a clear conscience that all you could do was to clap when it mattered the most instead of you standing up and face these things head on? Why did you have to be clapping when you were stepping in filthy to go and help yourself? So I appeal to you students, critical thinking. Know why you are in the university and know that the nation Zambia and the world at large is looking up to you, counting on you for solutions. If the current crop of politicians have failed you, may the Lord help you to be the right breed of politicians that are going to bring answers to this nation.
As we close, Ambassador,
My 1 minute.
I'll give you a minute, but also should the government be applauded for releasing 23 million kwacha towards
Before I go even to the minute, I will ride on Pastor Kennedy Mambo's thing, should Liseli, should Luvinda Mukwita and Lushomo Mukwita thank me for giving them food. That's my job. We should not thank anybody for dishing out 23 million. Did we have to wait for Emmanuel Bwalya to die for 23 million to be released? Did we have to wait for the government to come up with the Bill 7, to come up with the delimitation exercise? It is about priorities, you know. And may I ask a very mischievous question right now, starting from you, our host, the IP, Yasichura Baba, and this man from Chirisali. What's the name of the Vice Chancellor of Zambia?
Professor Muya.
Professor
Mundia Muya.
Yes.
That man is a cadre, Mr. President. That cadre that you have as a president is presiding over an institution where an 18-year-old guy is not going back home.
Should we say he was a cadre, a political cadre by then when he was aspiring? Now is no longer because he's now a civil servant.
Okay,
Should we go by that?
Let us just say he is a head of an institution that is responsible for an 18-year-old guy, the only child, from what I understand. 18-year-old guy, Emmanuel Bwalya. Emmanuel Bwalya is not a statistic. He's got a face, he's got a name, he's got a mother who carried him in the womb for 9 months. Emmanuel Bwalya's mother carried that boy in the womb. She breastfed Emmanuel Bwalya. I don't know about whether the father or anything, but she's seen that young man grow to a time that he goes to university. And now Emmanuel Bwalya is dead. And it is my intuition that the Vice Chancellor, Mr. What's his name again?
Professor.
Professor Mdia.
Professor, Mr. This is not the first death. A few months ago, a young lady was electrocuted at this same university. She was trying to charge her phone. It is now becoming very dangerous to do education. You can either get electrocuted or you can fall into a sewer pit, the cesspool. But when the politicians need to divert or to get attention, they will come to you. But meanwhile, you walk into the gutter. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I look around, you know, and what has happened? Emmanuel Bwalya is dead, but I know somebody will be going down there.
Right.
And here is another thing.
As you conclude.
As I conclude.
Yeah.
So, as I conclude,
yeah.
Our host, by IP, last time somebody condemned me on our feedback,
right,
that you are always looking at my IP and my PK and my Chula. You are not talking, they are your colleagues, you should be looking at the camera. So I'm looking at the camera. As I conclude, President Hakainde Hichilema, whom I love so much, please fire that Vice Chancellor, he has failed. The other person that you should fire is Siakalima. He has failed. You've already fired Mr. Muchima and you fired that other man.
Gary Nkombo.
Gary Nkombo. You fired. Gary Nkombo was like a juggernaut in the party. You fired Gary Nkombo, for God's sake. I didn't see that coming. I mean, like, Gary Nkombo has been fired. Nobody died in the Ministry of Local Government, but you fired Gary Nkombo. Why can't you fire this Vice Chancellor and fire that guy, what's his name? Siakarim. Fire these guys. It will gain you some mileage, Mr. President.
Right.
You want to get re-elected. You have to fire these guys. You have got to show some strength, you know. You know, like what do you call it? Like Donald Trump says, I'm going to bomb, I'm going to obliterate Iran, you know. Obliterate these guys.
Right.
So that you can give some traction to the family.
Right.
Because you are a father. And now, can you imagine if it was somebody in your family who fell into a pit latrine and drowned in
Right.
shit?
I'll come back to you, Ambassador. There's a story which is in relations to what we're talking about. Now, let's have Sakwiba Sikota, who is among the stakeholders who has condemned what is being said, or rather purported, that the Zambia National Service, team went on the ground at the University of Zambia in a quest to clean the premises. But in the midst of all that, in the midst of trying to quell the situation, they found themselves trying to more like bribe the students, giving them money here and there. These are very strong allegations which State Council Sakwiba Sikota has brought out. So let's just watch this video. That is a video which depicts the alleged bribing of students at the University of Zambia by some uniformed men and women. Then we'll dive into the conversation. Then later on, we'll also look at Sakwiba Sikota and hear what he's saying.
So you can exchange
the pictures that we saw of members of the Zambia National Service holding wads of cash and having students line up and being given money as they went by. Clearly no record of what was being given and who was receiving was being made, because these students were just passing by and taking the money. This brings a lot of concerns from various reasons. First reason is, what was the source of that money? Under which budget were they giving money in cash to students? What was the money supposedly for? Clearly, it is meant as a bribe. Surely, a government which goes out there saying that it is fighting corruption and so on can openly go out and engage in a corrupt act such as that. where you're dishing out cash, no record, and so on. Is that not the corruption, Mr. President, that you claim to be fighting? Whoever said that that money should be given out in that fashion should be disciplined, should be removed, Mr. President. Mr. General, you've got work to do. On this matter, whilst the papers are still available, go and find out who is getting this money, where it's from, under which authority it is coming, and whether or not there's been proper tender procedures for the works which are to be done. If it's under the emergency regulations, whether those have been followed, whether the persons who are going to be given those contracts are people with a track record of doing such work, and don't leave it until 3 years from now when you're doing the audit for the 2026. You can be proactive and do it right now to make sure that we do not have that loss.
Right, thank you so much. Ambassador, I'll start with you. The allegations by Sikota State Council. What is your take?
Well, IP, our host with the most. I know you are being very modest and you are trying to be as ethical as you always are, and you're trying to play with them within the rules. But there are videos. There are videos, for God's sake. We see a man in Zambia National Service uniform, and some say that man, the depiction is the commander of the Zambia National Service, Mr. Solwezi. He is giving out money. So for me, the question is, Mr. Solwezi, I know lots of people are scared of you, but you know, the analysis is not scared of you. No one is scared of you. We are just wondering, where did you get that money from? I love to get a handout myself once in a while, maybe all the time. But where did you get the money from? Where did you get the money to be giving out students? And who authorized that money? If you were doing it in goodwill, I appreciate it, because, you know, we live in times of poverty. Everybody needs a handout and a hand-in all in a while. Mr. Solwezi or those other people that were in Zambia National Service uniform, are you aware that that issue that has been captured on camera could come to haunt you? Maybe not now, maybe after an election, maybe after, you know, time is the master. And there is a saying that those that fail to learn from history risk repeating it. How are you going to explain Commander Solwezi, Mr. Solwezi, or any of those guys there? We appreciate your generosity, but we're just saying, you know, I mean, where did the money come from? Who authorized it? Where did the money come from? Who authorized the money, and why were you giving it out? Can myself and Pastor Kennedy Mambwe, Yasichula here, Mbala Mafia, you know, he loves his money, like all Mbala Mafias. My brother, the man with the big heart there, IP, loves his money also. Tell us, I want to know if I can come and get 200, maybe 300 kwacha. Where did you get that money, sir? Don't you think this is going to be a problem in future? If you were giving it out of generosity, if there is a little, you know, gift box somewhere, I know Christmas is far away from here, but you were giving out that money. We appreciate your generosity.
Right.
Commander, where did you get the money from? Aren't you afraid? Because regimes change, empires fall, and empires rise. Right. Don't you think you're going to have to account one day and say those 200 kwachas were, oh, no, niba PK wampele.
Not hotel. Let's see, PK, General Solwezi, according to the mass newspaper, they have described him as a blesser. No, the blesser in inverted commas. Blesser Solwezi sparks outrage. Rola Miti and others accuses ZNS commander of bribing students. The story in brief coming from the mass newspaper is saying that a governance activist, Laura Miti, has condemned Zambia National Service ZNS Commander General Solwezi for dishing out cash to University of Zambia students after they protested the sanitary condition at the institution, describing it as the gesture of bribery. What is the issue here? Is it that the students, they want money? They are in need of money? Was that protest, persuading the government to give them money? Or it was all about the sanitary condition and just to be improved? What's the issue here?
The issue, when you listen to State Council Sakwiba Sikota, the issue when you read what Laura Mead submitted in that story that you've just read, that was published as the headline story in the mass newspaper, the issue is failure of leadership. This is the failure of leadership. Because the students are protesting, crying for a solution so that there can be sanity in the institution. And then someone is alleged to go there and find a solution in dishing out money. If it's what we call, it's what we call in Nibemba, amafisa kanwa. Keep this and stop protesting. Keep this, go and drink bruto or whiskey and stop talking. Stop talking.
What happens when that money finishes?
When that money finishing, the sewer will still be smelling and stinking.
And Emmanuel Bwalya will still be dead.
And remember that you were sent to go and sort out that problem by the president. I am not too sure if the job description included go also with a stash of money. Or did he extend his assignment to think on behalf of the authority who gave him the authority to say, go and sort that out? Did he think way beyond what he was given as an assignment to say, let me also carry a stash of money? As Ambassador said, how are you going to justify to Mr. Stumbeko Msokotwane or to the Auditor General the reason you had that stash of money? And who was going to give you a receipt for that money? And if it was not caught on camera, will the government have known how much wastage has occurred within the effort of trying to solve the problem at University of Zambia? Are we only talking about 23 million or are we talking about 63 million? Because if the government has said they have released 23 million, but we have already seen on video other money is leaving the hands of an institution that has been tasked to go and sort. Who is auditing that? Who is auditing that? How much is it adding up to 23? Is that part of the 23 or that is excess? Okay, exactly. These issues is failure of leadership. To bribe a student is not solving a problem. This is a government that has said, Mwadibelele tantameni. But this is the same government that would do.
Oh my God!
Ask the the members of parliament to say, go and vote for Bill 7. What is in it for you? This is the same administration now where you see a man in uniform. We don't know who it is, but we are hearing what the State Council Sakwiba Sikota is complaining. We are hearing about what Laura Miti is complaining about. When you see a man in uniform, instead of sorting out a problem, you're bribing students. What are you telling us? This is an expose of things we were told would never happen under this administration. We are being subjected to the same manner of handling issues. That is tantamen. Telling kids to line up and start getting. That's tantamen. It's the same tantamen that was condemned. It's the same tantamen that is manifesting. Are we doing this because there's an election coming? And you think that because University of Zambia, we were told, for the first time, there is a meeting of mind. We have had students endorse this government. The church has endorsed this government. The traditional leaders have endorsed this government. Now that the students are protesting, are they poking holes in that endorsement? Are you worried that you're about to lose an election of popularity? Because just fix the leakage and fix the stop bribing children. They want to be leaders with morality. Stop corrupting their minds.
Comrade Mike Sichola.
IP, when you look at that video, it was taken in a haste. It was not well taken. So meaning there could have been...
It was an undercover job, actually.
An undercover job.
Yeah, they were scared.
And the student who captured that knew that this is wrong.
I see.
Because if it was not something that this student did not know that it was wrong, we could not have seen those pictures. But he knew to say, for the first time, I'm sure, for me, for the first time, I was seeing an officer in his uniform dishing out money like Father Christmas on Christmas Day. It is a very sad thing, and it has put Commander Solochi in bad taste. Commander Solochi, from where he has been coming from, he's been seen to be a front man for President Hakainde. Whenever there's a disaster, he's directed, he goes and he corrects the situation. We have seen bridges collapse. Mr. Solochi is the first person to be there and correct the situation. But for him to act in the manner he did at UNZA, it has created a dent on his good image. Now, let me bring our viewers to this issue. If you recall, there was a youth who was gunned down on the Copper Belt by a ZNS official. To date, investigations have not been conducted in that issue. I know viewers will say, but you are kind of like moving from the topic. But my point is, Commander Solochi needs to understand that once his officers begin to see him in the manner he was portrayed in that video, they will lose respect for him. And when they lose respect for him, when one of them begins to misbehave, as that ZNS officer who shot dead when they were doing the anti-smuggling of Mirimil, today the family of that boy are asking for answers because there was an assurance by this government that they are going to do investigations. No investigations have been conducted. That ZNS official who shot that boy is going about his life, but the family of the boy who was shot, they are living in anguish because they don't know what investigations will be done. Not long ago, is it 2 ZNS officials were found dead within their camp somewhere in Lusaka West. To date, the family of Solwezi, they don't know what led to the death of their relative in the ZNS camp. These things that I've highlighted have happened under the leadership of Commander Solochi. Does it mean Commander Solochi is so bad in the administration of his core duty, not distributing money to students? This is what Zambian people need answers for. Then lastly, as I conclude, like Ambassador said and PK has said here, in this country, if you recall, there was, is it Jojago Msengule?
Yeah, he was the army commander.
Army commander.
Big guy.
Big guy. Yeah. He went, after change of administration, he went to prison. At ZNS, there was, the top man there should have been Anthony Yeta.
Not Mukwita.
No. Anthony Yeta. Again, he was the big officer.
But he went to jail too.
There were some complications, but at some point, he was acquitted. But the point I'm dragging to is that Commander Solochi, when the time comes, if this administration, there's a change of administration, people will not care about you. They will not care about the uniform that you have now. You are going to dance to the tune of the Zambian justice. Because in the past, the so-called commanders, some of them have ended up in prison.
Right. That's powerful indeed. Let me close, gentlemen, by giving this message, and that's a free advice to the students movement. But before
you
that,
should say as a Pan-Africanist.
Gentlemen, I will speak as a journalist.
Okay, not Pan-Africanist today.
No. With my little experience in the media, and I will share this to the general public and the students. Number one, for me, my first disappointment is with the PS himself, Dr. Kelvin Mambwe. Dr. Mambwe is coming from the University of Zambia, where he was a lecturer. He knows about all these problems being talked about. He knows about the bad infrastructure or lack of infrastructure at the University of Zambia. He knows about the poor sanitary condition at UNZA today. And the man, about 2 years ago, he was lucky to have been identified by President Ackim Tembo, and he was appointed as PS. The question is, why has he failed, or why didn't he prioritize this matter over sanitary condition and also infrastructure? For me, that is a problem. To see Dr. Mambwe going to address the students and begin to portray as though he was blank about the problem, or to portray as though this problem, yes, it has been there for over the years. The question is, what has he been doing for the last 2 years? He was sworn in as a PS. That's number one. The viewers will answer. The other disappointment, and I want to give this to the UNZA management as well. My colleagues have mentioned about all these things. I'm not going to belabor to get into the details and then, begin to define where political cadre is. The general public is aware. Fast forward, I'll go to the students' movement themselves at UNZA. And I'll share this, young people. The little money you are getting from the politicians today will mess your career. And mark my words, I may not be alive tomorrow, I may not be there tomorrow, but the prosperity will be able to judge all of us. Today you may think that you being paraded by the UPND government, being paraded by President Ackim Tembo at those functions, they are tarnishing your name. I'm not saying stop praising them. No, praise them. You can even, break your tongues if you want. Praise the government. But the more you do that, you are tarnishing your name and your careers. Because beyond the UPND, the question is, how will you succeed? Because whichever political party which may come in power tomorrow or in the future, they will perceive you to be a UPND cadre. If the government today of the UPND, if the government today, yesterday of the PF were firing civil servants who worked with the MMD under the PF, because you are perceiving them to have been MMD cadres, they were fired. Civil servants, innocent civil servants, were cleaned. The UPND again comes into power. The same again happened. Some innocent civil servants who worked under the PF, they were perceived to be PF cadres. They were fired. What about you, a mere student and a young girl? For how long are you going to work in government?
No, you don't even have a job yet.
So, in short, what I'm saying, any little success you may have today, but if it is backed by a politician, believe me, it's never sustainable. Mark my words. The politicians, again, to me, regardless of who you are, whether you are whatever political party, for me, in the opposition, to be specific, I don't care about that. There have been a letdown over this matter about UNZA. And I applaud the UPND. The UPND, when Vespa Shimunzila died out of suffocation, as it were, and also after that, commotion which happened, the UPND, they played a role in advocating for the rights of the students, and they owned that funeral as if it was theirs. They went on protesting, holding press briefings, speaking for that one single voter in the Vespa Shimunzila. Today, the opposition political party, they are quite mute. And yet, you've lost one vote as we speak today. So, I want to emphasize that regardless of who you are in the opposition, to me, you are a letdown. And you can't claim to be smart because you have not shown sympathy. No press briefing has been held by the opposition in mourning that single vote which has gone at UNZA. For me, that is a problem. I thought we could lay these facts in a very blunt manner without massaging each other. Let's move on, gentlemen. Let's look at another story as we look at the Easter period we're in today. The poverty levels keeps on escalating or increasing, while the fuel prices again keeps on increasing, as we've said it already. Last week, fuel, petrol, everything was increased. Again, just CTRI tells us that the food basket as well as also increased we have now to spend about, is it 12,000 kwacha, gentlemen?
12,000,
Mike
yes.
Sichula?
Over 12,000.
For a family of
Five.
Your take, Ambassador?
It's a very sad state of affair, IP, and by the way, I love your monologue. You had to get it out, and that's very, very important, because if you don't want to go to sleep with such a burden,
I wouldn't.
And you have offloaded, that is very good. And while we are offloading on that very issue, allow me, before we go on to the high cost of living, just to remind people, in case they have forgotten, that today, April 5, marks exactly 10 months. Today, April 5, marks exactly 10 months since the 60th president of Zambia, Edgar Lungu, died. And I was glad to read, and I reproduced on my page that has more than 60,000 people, the fact that KBN TV, your team, you are the station manager and the CEO and co-founder, found time to ensure that you had to put in your own word on the fact that we have broken history. We have gone through the roof ceiling, and we have been known on the entire continent as the first country that has not buried a president for 10 months. Mrs. Esther Lungu is still mourning. She's still draped in black. Tasila Lungu lost her job. Yes, Chula will tell us about how in Jack Compound and Chawama properties that were owned by the former family before they even became first family have been grabbed. But let me get back to the ground before I go to the state. President Edgar Lungu died on June 5 last year. So the day he was supposed to be buried, Mr. Muliro Kabesha, the Attorney General, went to court in Pretoria and obtained a paper that stopped the family from burying him according to family wishes. According to him, the government of Zambia wanted to give him the honors which they did not give him when he was alive. But today, 10 months, the SADC, the Southern African Development Community, tried. Bakili Molozi tried. Some Commonwealth leaders. Oh my God, did I say dealers? We live in a country of dealers. I'm sorry about people. Businessmen. In washout. It's a washout here. The point, I am sorry I'm stealing this. After I speak, you can actually just give all my time to Yasichula.
No problem. So I want you to conclude.
Indeed, but the thing is, 10 months today, how does it feel, Honorable Muliro Kabesha, State Council? How does it feel? I mean, you know, you could die one day, sir. And how would it feel if somebody restrained your wife from burying you? How would it feel for your children if this is? It's 10 months. We have got a president who remains unburied. And people fear, we all fear, even myself. I'm very afraid even as I speak about this right now. I mean, I could be asking questions like, who is paying the South African lawyers? Who is paying the South African lawyers to ensure that this injunction remains in place? I know that the president's family are being paid for by sympathizers, but what burden of this are Zambians carrying out? You know, the reason I'm saying I'm afraid, because I saw my big brother, Fred Membe, get arrested for saying, it's not your body. You know, why do you want to hold on to this body? But now let me get back to this.
As you conclude.
As I conclude, an average Zambian who works in the public service earns about 4,000 kwacha. And now the Jesuit Center for Theological Reflection, which collects data on what an average family of 5 needs, says you need about 12,000 kwacha. On basics, I was buying electricity on what we call the first month buy. 1,000 kwacha. 1,000 kwacha on April 1 gave us only 400 units. 1,000 kwacha gave us 400 units, because I belong to the grassroots and poor people, like myself, the pastor, the what. 1,000 kwacha, 400, it will not last a month. Now, so you take away 1,000. And then if you live in Ngombe, like I do, the rent for you per month is 800 kwacha. And then if you have to take a kid to school, they need snacks and stuff, that's another 800 kwacha.
Right.
So basically, Zambians are living beyond their means, or they are not living at all. And yet, we were told that it pains me that Zambians are going to sleep hungry. It pains me that Zambians do not have electricity. Now, I'm looking at this, I'm winding up the clock, and it looks like on August 13, which is about 4 or 5 months from now, people have to make a decision. So what decision are they going to make when 1,000 kwacha only gets them electricity for 400 units? What decisions are we going to make when the pastor's SUV needs 1,000 kwacha for fuel at 32 kwacha? Yasichula needs to grow tomatoes. IP needs to do investigative journalism. He needs gasoline in order to bring the education and the entertainment that we need. What decisions are going to be made? I think we are living in a very interesting but very, very expensive time.
Right.
And this is why people have to make a decision. And I laugh when people say, oh, you know, there doesn't seem to be regime change in the air. There is no change in the air. But there is change in the amount of electricity you're going to buy. There is change in the amount of fuel you're going to buy. There is change in the bag of meal. There is change in all this. Do you need a political party to go and make a decision in the ballot box?
Right.
Hold
on there. I don't know how, PK, you're going to handle this, but in managing my time, I would want you to combine this with what Ambassador has talked about, but we'll look at ECZ having announced, or rather reaffirmed, that they will be collecting some monies ahead of the nominations of presidential aspirants. They'll start by 15th of April, which will be, I think, after
10 days from
next
now.
week from now.
10 days. Today is the 5th,
meaning
right?
that, yes, meaning that we are already in a campaign mood, a campaign period. The nominations for the presidents or presidential candidates, or collection of money, will start by 15th of April. PK, quickly.
I'll try and combine all of them in 1 minute.
Please.
Both of them, rather.
Right.
On Thursday, State of the Nation, I was privileged to host Reverend Chile Kwamulenga from Ndola. And I asked him, I said, Reverend, tell me, because Ndola and Copperbelt looks really exciting.
Yeah.
It's a success story of the turnaround economically that has happened, because we are seeing the president frequenting Copperbelt. We are seeing the crowds gathering and cheering. He said, I am coming from the Copperbelt. And in his words, he said, the JCTR report of 12,000 is not unique to Lusaka alone. We on the Copperbelt are actually feeling the pinch more because there is no industry. I said, you are lying, because we understand that there is more investment in the mines. There is a lot of activity that is taking place, plus projects under CDF. He said, the crowds, according to him, these are his own words, the crowds are hired crowds. And he said the people who are managing the president, they're lying to him to make him feel that those crowds are real crowds. Those are hired crowds. And he said poverty levels on the Copperbelt is real. I said, but Reverend, you are only one person here. Let's open the phone lines.
Yeah.
Let's hear people
We try
call
to
in.
count the numbers, the calls.
And people called in. On Thursday, you go and watch State of the Nation again. It's online on KBN page. They called in and almost every single one said there is poverty on the copper belt. Kulinjala kuno, we are failing to eat or to buy. This man said, me, I have a shop. He was even telling the Reverend to say, Reverend, that shop where I sell second-hand tires and you've been my customer, you don't come anymore. I know why you don't come. And I don't even sell as much as I used to sell.
Yes.
So if they said to you that things are looking good, so when I listened and I read the story from the JCTR of 12,000 per month for a family of five in Lusaka.
On basics alone,
it is not just in Lusaka, it is everywhere. Come to the issue of the Electoral Commission of Zambia.
Yeah.
We used to think that elections are too far. The elections are here, they are just around the corner. But I can tell you, IP and our dear viewers, the next 2 weeks are going to be very exciting to see. It's a movie. Because what's happening now, we have been having all these political bickering. Oh, Party A has obtained an injunction. Party B has been sued. Oh, Party C, everyone is operating illegally. Now, as the ECZ has announced that they will start collection of presidential nomination fees, 95,000 kwacha, starting on the 15th, which is 10 days from now. The question will be, if Mike Chula shows up, he will say he's from which party? And the ECZ will be requiring a record to collaborate his claim that yes, he held a convention and that yes, he has been voted as the presidential candidate. When they see that report, then they look at the 95,000, then they collect and say, okay, Party X, the presidential candidate shall be so. The next few weeks are going to be intense. You will see manifestation of jubilation, demons, joy, sadness, tears, everything. It will
combined.
It will be a commingled manifestation. What you are hearing about Mingalato is about to manifest. But what is exciting for me is to see that Mingalato didn't just happen to the PF or to Peter Chanda's party. Mingalato now has gone into the bedroom of the ruling party. The ruling party is in court. Will they go to nomination? There is the issue that the lawyers, the judiciary, the citizens and everybody, the government must pay attention to. Will the UPND go to the nomination table while the case is in court?
Will they hold the convention?
Will they hold the convention when the case is in court? Will they act with impunity to overrule the court process and fall prey to what do you call this thing?
Questioning on
the issue of when you disobey the contempt. Will they fall prey to contempt? You see, all of these things, we shouldn't just brush them off. They are real and they are forming part of our political trajectory and the story of the UPND's regime in this first term of office. Will they disregard the court process and just say, our president must go for nomination? Because the nominations, by the way, IP, are starting on the 15th. And that is the date they have announced that they will go to a convention on that day. But will the court case that Mr. Longwe has taken to the judiciary, would it have been exhausted by the 15th? Would the judgment would have been passed by then? This is an exciting time to watch what will happen going forward.
Hold on your energy. We'll unpack, I think, a lot. There's a topic around that where we get into the happening, the happening, the UPND. Comrade Mike Sichula, over the nomination fees.
Well,
exercises.
The fees 95 is something that some commentators, when it was announced some years ago, they complained that it is beyond the reach of certain candidates. But as you know, when you're vying for the position of presidency, it's a big position. So people would assume that you've got the financial muscle for you to go for that position. Then the issue of the ECZ receiving nominations on the 15th of April, which is a month before the dissolution of Parliament. This practice has been happening from as far back as 2016. Now, the problem comes again. You pay your nomination fees. Then with what we have, the pattern that we have seen, the party that says you are going to be our presidential candidate, something happens between the 15th of April and the 13th, before the 13th of, before the printing of ballot papers. Yeah. So like...
When is Parliament getting dissolved?
Sometime
21st May.
21st May.
Yeah.
So we have interesting time between 15th and 21st.
Yeah, so it's some interesting time, and it's also good that the ECZ, why they are doing this, they want to manage issues of counter, issues of people saying no, challenging, because if someone has been challenged, there's a period of time that should be 120 days for you to go to court. Yeah. So they are trying to manage this scenario all in it. But the problem that we have now is that the issue that we have is that there are a lot of wrangles in many political parties. Yeah. Which are even affecting presidential candidates. So this is what has made this period interesting, because of these wrangles. Where we are coming from, there were no more of these wrangles affecting presidential candidates. So it was easy for them to go and file in their nomination papers without any problem. But now there are wrangles, and also when you go to the ECZ and the Registrar of Societies, these institutions have been cadalized such that they are talking about things that do not exist in the law, but they are saying for you to be a presidential candidate on Party X, you must be on the list of officials on the Registrar of Society. So these are the issues that are going to make this period interesting, because where we are coming from, a presidential candidate could be nominated away from the list of the registrar. But now there are all these issues. The ECZ is, which has been catalyzed, is also being used. When you go to the Registrar of Societies, it is the same. When you go to the Zambia Police, for them to just approve the fingerprints, they have to they have to wait for approval from State House. So all these issues now are creating confusion. So this is why this period from the 15th, 10 days as we speak, is going to be an interesting period. But to conclude, as PK has said...
But also don't take away the independent candidates, gentlemen.
Yes.
Because Article 100 is clear that you can still file in as an independent candidate. You know,
and what do you need?
And you don't need to have your names registered at Registrar of Societies.
So all these things, like I want to borrow the words that were used by, not commander, constitutional lawyer John Sang.
Right.
He said there are certain things that do not exist in the Registrar of Societies Act in terms of registration of political parties. But now, it's like someone has just woken up to say, let's have this, let's have that.
It doesn't work like that.
So, like John Sangwa, he has struggled to have his registration approved at the Registrar of Societies because of these issues that when you read the law, they don't exist. But when you go to the Registrar of Societies, the Registrar of Societies will show you, no, you have to do A, B, C, D.
That's why the caddarism spirit.
That's where the caddarism I'm talking about has come in. So now you find that before you go, because let's look at the stature of John Sangwa. He's a learned lawyer, constitutional lawyer. So I don't
One of the best this country has ever had.
Before he executes something, he can go blindly. But he has been hit by a lot of roadblocks to just have his movement be registered. Right. So you can imagine the caddarism that as I'm talking about. This is why this is going to be interesting.
Right.
Peter said a very interesting point, I think, away from the camera, to say, obvious, with because state institutions have been cadralized, we're going to see a situation where the UPND, which are supposed to hold their convention on the 15th, they will probably be given the last date for them to file in. Why are they doing that? They are doing that to give the UPND time, which is very unfair to political parties like NCP, where Peter Chanda is. Yes. It's also unfair to John Sangwa. It's also unfair to PF. But because the institutions I'm talking about have been cadralized, they are giving a free law to the UPND to do whatever they want. Come whenever you want. We're going to fix your problem.
Right. Let's have this video of Mr. Patrick Tembo as we talk about the confusion or wrangles in the UPND. There is a man who claims to be the founder of the UPND, to be among the founder of the UPND, in Patrick Tembo Banda. I love the name. You know, Easterners
is it because you're from the East?
Easterners don't run out of names, you know. There's also, I think also Bembas, they're quite good at that, because Bembas, they will name a child Chanda Chanda, for example. Wwalya Wwalya. They don't care about it. Nope. But at least these are 3 different names. Patrick Tembo Banda, who claims that he was the founding member of the UPND, and he's
got 2 surnames.
Exactly. and he tells the country that I've taken over the UPND. But I think there's also another man in Mr. Longwe who has gone to court.
That's Peter Longwe?
Is it... okay.
Charles
Longwe. Yes, correct.
Charles Longwe.
Thank you.
My God.
So let's hear from what Mr. Banda is saying, a member of the UPND.
Good morning, fellow countrymen and women. My names are Patrick Tembo Banda, the UPND interim president. Fellow countrymen and women, today I thought I should introduce myself formally to the people of Zambia, arising from the many comments that have occupied the media space. So, like I've said, Banda Patrick Tembo is my name, and the UPND interim president. Banda is everything about UPND. The UPND which most people think they own it. The UPND which has ushered in so many people who are today thinking they are bigger than the UPND itself. They know little about UPND. UPND is a poor people's party. UPND is a party that presents the people of Zambia, and UPND was formed to deliver Zambians from the shackles and doldrums of poverty, to deliver the people of Zambia from the shackles of poverty that today one should stand and accuse Banda that is impersonating who? Who is there to claim that he's a founder? If there's anyone who feels I have impersonated him or her, let them come out, present themselves, that they are founders. I can assure you, no one will come near anywhere to present themselves as founders. I'm the only surviving founder member of UPND. And I'm the only bona fide author and founder of UPND. UPND is my brainchild. So it is unfortunate that you can have people that can start classifying me as an impersonator. No, not at all. I'm not. When you talk of UPND, you cannot talk about UPND without talking about Banda. Banda is everything about UPND. Now, let me just give the names of those that founded or the colleagues that we work together closely to come up with UPND. First and foremost, let me acknowledge and recognize our founding president, late Anderson Kambera Mazuka. May his soul rest in peace. Coming to the first Secretary General of the party, that is Mr. Grayson Njogu, the late, the first chairman of the United Party for National Development, that is Mr. Justin Mwene, who is also the late, and the first Secretary General of the party, that is Mr. Maxwell Showa Lufungola, the choirman, and the man talking here, the first trustee of the party. So, if you talk about UPND, UPND is anchored on 4 pillars. That is Mr. Justin Mwene, Grayson Njogu, Maxwell Lufungola, and Patrick Banda. So, everyone driving this agenda of or questioning where this Banda is coming from, I want to say that Banda is everything about UPND. I want to say that Banda is the author and founder of UPND. I want to say that Banda is the one who conceived the idea of forming UPND. I want to state here categorically that Banda, as things stand, is the only authority in as far as UPND activities are concerned. Outside the perimeters or the boundaries of Banda, then everything is now void. Thank you very much on that. Now, coming to...
Right. Thank you so much. Let's get into it, gentlemen. Ambassador, the wrangles in the UPND. How will they come out?
But IP, our host with the most. We live in interesting times. I mean, I didn't know that there would be factions in the ruling party, especially 4 months before elections. I mean, there is an Asian saying that when your enemy is making mistakes, please don't disturb them. You know, like the way China right now is looking at the United States of America and Israel making mistakes. They're just quiet. Russia is just watching. I'm just wondering what is happening. And this is where I would like to, this is the time that I like to call upon my cousin and friend, neighbor actually at home. We live on the same road, Brother Cornelius Mweta. What is perambulating right now in the UPND? Can you please tell us? Are you really going to have a convention or not? Because Longwe says there is a trap that is being set for President Hakainde Hichilema if he goes to the convention. But then there is a state law that says you gotta have to go to the convention. And then there is also the party law that says you gotta go to the convention. Longwe says the convention pact, according to your law, says a president can only run twice, 2 consecutive terms, 2 5-year consecutive terms. So I am flabbergasted myself. It's spectacular. I'm just wondering, President Hakainde Hichilema has been president for how long?
20 years.
Yeah, so have you been violating
your own constitution?
Your own. I will leave it to PK because he's already. It's my older brother and friend, constitutional lawyer, state counsel. John Sango says it's a constitution. So tell me, I mean, what do you think?
Ambassador, I agree with you. These are interesting times, but the UPND themselves didn't see this coming. I think they were too busy
being opposition.
Yes, they were. First of all, they were too busy thinking they're in opposition, but also they were too consumed that they have arrived.
They've landed, to use your term.
So all is well, everyone is happy. They forgot that there was a founder member in the name of Patrick Tembo
Banda.
when he appeared on Millennium in that video, and by the way, Millennium didn't need to be castigated. They didn't anything wrong.
I didn't think so.
The gentleman went to the media
from the IBA. I was like, what?
The gentleman went to a media house as a source. Yes. As a source. So when that video first went out, Tembo was under fire. Millennium was under fire. But what most people didn't know, now that we have the minutes of 1998, is that Tembo is one of the 5-6 founding. He was a trustee, and unfortunately, he is the only surviving founder member of the UPND, and he knows the constitution like at the back of
his head. He helped craft it.
Yes. They are the ones who invited the late Anderson Kambela Mazoka to say, can you come and be our president? But Mr. Tembo is one of the crafters of the United Nations. So the cadres that they started saying, no, he ran away from wherever, demeaning him and what, they were being malicious. They don't even know the history. So here is a guy who has shown up and he has added fire to what Mr. Longwe started. Mr. Longo also stands on very firm ground, challenging the fact that number one rather, that the current leadership, their tenure ended in February, on 13th or 14th, thereabout. So they are in office illegally. Now, Ambassador, what is key and the viewers to know is that what should have happened as we are running towards an election, as the spokesperson for the UPND said, it is a legal requirement. It is compulsory that every party must go to a convention or general assembly. I see you are looking at their constitution.
The document.
Just hold on there. You will read it. He said it is compulsory.
I want to cement what you are saying.
Let me just not lose my thought.
Okay.
And he said in 2021 we are going to the convention because of an election that is coming up. Okay? And so Mr. Longwe says we haven't gone to the convention because for us to go to the convention we should have had the primary elections, district elections, provincial elections, and those are the people that form the delegates to the national convention or general assembly, as you want to call it. The fact that you can't just call for a convention. And he's right to say they have run out of time in terms of holding office. That's number one. Number two, he has cited a clause that the ambassador has talked about the tenure of office for a president. That you can be a president, is it two consecutive terms only or whatever, but President Hakainde Hichilema, since Mr. Mazoka died, he has been president. So what has been happening to that constitution? Maybe they were managing it outside of the national discourse. But now that they are in the spotlight, they cannot manipulate it perhaps the way they manipulated it privately. They have to do the right thing. So you have to fight with Mr. Tembo and fight with Mr. Longwe and argue these facts in court. Now the fact that he has said, I am the sole president, and he has started appointing Secretary General is Longwe.
More drama.
He hasn't denied it.
Happening elsewhere.
Today I have seen an appointment of Dr. Membe's wife, Mutinta, as the
my sister,
the president, right? The running mate. The running mate. And I saw
it's her father's party.
Honorable Gary Nkombo said,
but hold on the running mate. If at all that appointment is correct on Madam Mutinta Mazoka, then Patrick Tembo is being malicious, because how would you appoint a running mate before you even go to a convention, general assembly yourself?
Well, subject to ratification.
No, let's just think, all of us.
No, that's why
what
I
is
said
trying
subject
to achieve?
You can appoint and then you can ratify.
How? Is he sure that is the one who's going to win?
So we don't know.
Exactly.
We don't know. All we know is that Mingalato has come home to roost.
It's a washout.
Mingalato
has come home
home to roost.
Yeah.
And it has found its nest
indeed
right in the center of power within
my God.
the UPND. So, very interesting.
No. Comrade Mike Sichula, of course, I want to write on what PK submitted. I'll read Article 75 of the UPND Constitution, which says the president of the party shall be elected by the General Assembly every 5 years. The president of the party shall be, so mark the word shall be, or shall, as it were, be elected at the General Assembly. Is Patrick correct? Is Mr. Longwe correct?
The two gentlemen are on firm ground, because what they are talking about is not something that they are talking about from their heads. They are substantiating it with what is contained in the UPND Constitution. A constitution which, up to date, none of the CEOs of the UPND have come to say, no, actually that constitution was amended to fit, to disagree with what Mr. Longwe and Mr. Tembo are pushing. None of them have come out. But I want to speak to President Hakainde Hichilema. President Hakainde Hichilema, sir, what is happening now with the likes of Mr. Longwe, the likes of Mr. Banda, simply shows that the people that are with you are not doing what they are supposed to do. Because if the Secretary General of the UPND was on top of his job, all these things that we are seeing today should not have happened. But these are the same people, Mr. President, when you travel out, they are the same people who be busy doing the Sotsana and whatever.
Forgetting about the convention.
Forgetting about a very important thing governing your political party. President Hakainde Hichilema has been at the helm of the UPND for more than 2 decades. And if the Constitution says he needed to have paved way for, he needed to save twice so that he can pave way for another, it now amplifies the point that I made, I think last week, where I said, instead of having a one-party state in the country, we all have this issue of one-man system. So if the president decided that this thing should be buried, it shouldn't be talked about, then the people that have spoken about this issue are those people who are outside the UPND, the so-called outside the UPND. Because the likes of Mr. Garinkombo spoke about it. But since this country is governed by a one-man system, even the UPND itself is governed by a one-man system, this issue was never discussed. But as the PK concluded, what you didn't want to be discussed now has to be discussed at the national level. And in court. And in court. And it is embarrassing. Yeah. It is embarrassing Zambia to the outside world, because people be asking to say, but how can you govern a nation, meanwhile you fail to respect the constitution of the political party that sponsored you? I hope these people that are pushing this agenda are not going to be victimized, but already on social media they are being victimized, and no one is doing anything about it, which is a very sad state of affairs. Going forward, President Hakainde Hichilema, he needs to act, because failure to act is now exposing him as a one-man system who makes things move when he decides when to move. It is the same issue that we spoke about the first story, the issues of UNZA sanitation. It took President Hakainde Hichilema to say, can you release 23 million? You see, huh? Yeah. This is why I'm saying we have moved away from the one-party system. Now we are in a one-man system. If President Hakainde Hichilema says, remove this one, is not working, that person will be removed. Even when he was drawing taxpayers' money, failing to remove broke sewers at UNZA, failing to say, Mr. President, let's go for a convention. He has got the Secretary General, Butuke Imenda, there's Gertrude Imenda. Are you telling me these people didn't look at the Constitution?
The time is running out.
So it simply shows these people may have whispered to say, sir, something here is not okay. But because it is a one-man system, it was covered under the carpet. But it will no longer be covered because the brave and patriotic Mr. Longwe and Mr. Banda have come out.
Right. Something to worry indeed. There is confusion in the UPND, the ruling party. There's another faction which has emerged. And that's a story we are from talking about. Just like in the same manner, we've been talking about the factions in the Patriot Front. We've given given them publicity. The same manner we've seen the factions emerging the NDC. Talk about NCP. And also there's another confusion going on in the FDD. So in the spirit of inclusivity and fairness, we had to bring all these things together. Thank you so much for watching. This has been the analysis program. On behalf of PK, Ambassador, and Comrade Mike Sichula, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and good evening to our dear viewers. Happy Easter once again.
Thank you so much. William Chongo has been my director this evening. Thank you so much. May God bless Zambia. May God bless Mother Africa. Good night.